Mercury retrograde collective reading. So I've pulled out 6 cards. This is going to go over different things about the collective of you, blockages, things you need to reflect on, etc., etc. We will go each card there. Remember, this is a collective, so it may not fit you. Do not try to force it there. If you're wanting something for your personal self, you would need to do that by registering for that. So the first one card would be number 1 is you. So this card really represents to me as like we are doing a lot of negative self-talk, a lot of different things with ourselves. And then at that time, you are also working on that negative mindset and the subconscious mind and allowing things to really just manifest in there. So you have to be the one that controls what is in your mind and in your heart. And this is not easier said than done, really. This is more of like, what are you going to allow to open up the door? It's the same thing if you're opening up the door of a snowstorm and you know the snowstorm is out there. So, AKA, you know this negativity and the down energy is out there. It's your choice to open it up and engulf in that snowstorm. So that is your choice. So what is your blockages for this Mercury retrograde? So this is saying that how unlucky you are. This has a lot to do with like basically wanting to not feel that luck is on your side. You don't feel like things are flowing with you. This goes back again with having that mindset for yourself. So if anything, Mercury retrograde is slowing you down to say what is exactly that you are saying to yourself and get rid of that BS story. Like just there's no reason to have that story and thing. So what do you need to reflect on? Balance for yourself. This is more of like an internal hermit mode. What is it that you need to really reflect on would be, how did you get there? What story did you do? Are you doing any subconscious mind shifting? Are you actually working on the shadow work of the part of you that is believing these stories? A lot of you guys like to watch and scroll a lot of Facebook and a lot of TikToks and everything else and think that's the answer that you're going to get from it. And you do not do the work for yourself. So if anything, I'm calling you out is to actually do some reflections of what is it that you did in the situation. What are you going to get yourself out of situations? What are you going to create something new for yourself? Now, ways that you can improve your communication, because obviously, you know, Mercury is communication. Ways to improve your communication is, this one feels like, don't be an anger ball. Don't allow things to crumble inside of you. This is the Tower card, so this is just really about like allowing things to fall apart. So some of you in the collective keep a lot of things inside of you, and you do all that negative mindset thinking you're not lucky and stuff. So then, therefore, when you communicate, it's just not working. So instead of there, you can find the peace in your heart to actually communicate effectively. And remember, some people are just not going to communicate with because they're not there. We can't force people to listen to us, but if they're ones that want to understand you, or they're saying they can't understand what you're saying, then it's your voice. It is the way that you are conveying the message, and it also could be the way that you present your tone. You might be saying the right thing, but if your tone is not right, it's not going to go. So with some reoccurring themes or lessons, challenging times. We're giving challenges because you're not really fat. You're not really winning the battle, is what they're saying. So you go through it, you might have shortcutted, or you might have buried under the challenges, but this is like when things are difficult, are you really like, what are you facing with? So this kind of makes me think of in the beginning of, we're in the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde. So I was having some tower moments, and I just sat there, and I even though like I was like, what the heck? And then I was like, oh, you know what? This is just funny. Whatever. I know bigger things are coming. And then that was it. Then later down, I realized how much growth I've had just from saying, okay, whatever. It's like a whatever thing, whatever that tower moment is, whatever that challenge is, I know things are going to happen that's going to be better for me. Instead of me constantly thinking of how, when, what, all this other stuff, and then you're living in the past or your anxiety for the future instead of living in the moment. So what can be resolved during this Mercury retrograde? This is facing the fears that you are not valuable or good enough. This feels a lot like of the overwhelm wound. This feels a lot of we're just putting a lot of things inside of us, and we're telling ourselves that we're not good enough. And that's that part right here. And then telling yourself you're not lucky, and then expressing yourself that way. And then the challenges. So what can you resolve here is when you are being tested, and you know these situations have been coming, and there's lots of energy. Mercury retrograde starts exactly on April 1st. And then we also have a solar eclipse on the 8th in the Mercury retrograde, and it's a new moon. So you have to think of all of these extra energies as just kind of like a quick way of like ripping that Band-Aid off. Are you going to scream about it, or you're going to say, oh, that hurt. Okay, but I got through this Band-Aid ripping. That is you. So what is it that you're going to actually resolve yourself? This is if you take this. Now, I can tell you that this can resolve this. This is obviously an action plan. So if you do not do the first part, which is not opening up these storm doors, then you will continue to feel that you're not valuable, you're not worthy, and you will continue to feel like all these fears, and you're just thinking of all this BS. So if you want that to be resolved for yourself, it is aligned action. You know what to do with it. And then at the end of it, you will start feeling that you faced those darkest fears, and they really weren't as bad as they were because it was just stories. Now, if you want your own Mercury retrograde reading, you can follow in the comments exactly how to get that. Otherwise, much love.